there's nothing like cracking that cellophane and pulling that record out. It just smells great.
Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Non-stop hardcore energy.
I love the show, guys. You're awesome.
Unlike any other.
With your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father.
Man, this stuff rocks.
What's up, everyone? This is Jay Tarantino, guitarist of Etherius, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
The views and opinions of the guests do not necessarily reflect the views and opinions of BODS Mayhem Radio Network, its staff, affiliates, or sponsors. Parental discretion is advised. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Radio Network.
Hey folks, welcome back to BODS Mayhem Hour. I hope everybody is surviving the coronavirus that's going on right now. I hope that each and every single one of you guys are taking the necessary precautions as they are insisting everybody do. I hope that everybody is safe and okay out there and enjoying all the things that we can at our fingertips, such as music, things like that we can do at the house. I know it's a crazy time that we're living in right now, but everything will get better and we will get through this. So let's talk about a little bit things that's coming up here very shortly here on BODS Mayhem Hour. We welcome Jay Tarantino, guitarist of Etherius. Etherius are set to return with their first full-length album, Chaos Order Renewal. And it's going to be out April 17th. And also check out Etherius' new music video for The Rivers of Sand and Blood. You definitely want to check that out. And again, once again, Jay Tarantino, guitarist of Etherius, is coming up here on BODS Mayhem Hour after our little intro to talk about Etherius' new album. Also, legendary Bay Area thrash metal giants Testament will release their 13th studio album, Titans of Creation, via Nuclear Blast, out Friday, April 3rd. Now, folks, 13 albums over a span of probably 30 years of this band, and plus what's going on today with the coronavirus, and especially to release an album on Friday, April 3rd, while the coronavirus is going on. It's kind of weird. But, hey, you've got to do something, and thoughts and prayers go to Chuck, his wife, plus other members of Testament and the road crew and other people that's involved in this who's got the coronavirus. God bless you guys, and you're all in our thoughts and prayers as we hope to get this situated and get this done and over with. That way we all can get back out and enjoy some live concerts, some festivals, things like that, and get back to normalcy, get back to normal as well. Allegiant released cover of Yes Classic Roundabout as a digital single. They launched behind-the-scenes video for the making of Roundabout. I hope that everybody, like I said, is taking the precautions that we're supposed to be doing, and hopefully this will all be over soon. Lots of more stuff coming up here on BODS Mayhem Hour, strictly for each and every single one of you all. Please get out and like our Facebook page. Follow us on our podcast link. iHeartRadio, Spotify, Apple Podcasts, Podbean. We're all over the place. Whether you want to watch it via a video audio or just regular standard audio, we are out there. And I'm trying to get all this situated. I've been having a lot of problems out of my mixer and things like that. But nevertheless, I'm not giving up on this. And I'm not giving up on each and every single one of you guys and gals out there who support me. I do have shirts available. If you are interested in a shirt, you can go to BODS Mayhem Hour's Facebook page. I'll post it up on there. If you like one, I have small, medium, large, extra large, and I think 3X as of right now. They're $20. If you want one, please just let me know, and I'll try to get you one out as soon as possible when I can get to the post office once this coronavirus has stopped and gone. So, once again, I'm going to keep bringing you guys awesome interviews as much as I can. So, thanks. Coming up very shortly, Jay Tarantino, guitarist of Etherius, on BODS Mayhem Hour podcast. Hey, everybody. Welcome to BODS Mayhem Hour. I'm your host, John the Bod, a.k.a. the Bod Father. And as always, I'm bringing you guys and gals awesome interviews. Today, it's an honor and a privilege to welcome Jay Tarantino, guitarist of Etherius, back to the show. Etherius are set to return with their first full-length album, Chaos Order Renewal, out April 17th. And also check out Etherius' new music video for The Rivers of Sand and Blood, and catch them on tour in the U.S. this spring with Allegiant, and I hope I pronounced this right, Fahalia, and Etherius. If this tour happens because of all this coronavirus crap, because a lot of things are getting canceled. So, Jay, how's it going, man? And congrats on this new full length from you guys.
Thanks. Yeah, man. And this tour is going to be awesome. So if anybody who likes good music, whether you like metal or not, like death metal, progressive metal, just good musicianship, you got to come out and see this tour.
How's it been working with Adrenaline PR so far for you guys, man?
Oh, it's great. I mean, they really get things done for us. We've been able to grow the band. Yeah, I think we've been able to grow the band a little bit faster working with them. They've been doing this for years. Maria's been doing it for over 30 years, going back to like working with like Metallica and Anthrax, when they were on Megaforce Records. So she knows what she's doing. Her staff, they all know what they're doing. They're all wonderful people, and we're more than happy with them.
They know their shit, is what he's trying to say, folks.
Basically, yeah.
So the Rivers of Sand and Blood video was shot by Tom Flynn, who has worked with Lamb of God, Ice-T, and Buck Cherry, among others, of course. How was working with him?
Tom's great. I mean, he's worked with a bunch of, besides those artists that you just mentioned, I mean, he's worked with some other big names. I can't think of them off the top of my head right now, but just ultimate professional, just really knows what he's doing. We give him an idea of what we want to do, and he just kind of takes that and runs with it. And I mean, this was probably the most fun and easiest video shoot that we've done, that I've done with anybody. There's always a lot of planning and prep and stuff, and this one was, we just decided on doing it in a junkyard. We were there for, maybe 5 or 6 hours. We got some really good shots, and then just let him do his thing in the editing stage.
For everybody who doesn't know, Angel Vivaldi has a guest solo on the track Unity in Darkness. Working with him for so long, and you've worked with him for a long time, has he made you a better all-around musician? I mean, has he pushed you to make you want to do better?
I mean, absolutely. Especially for someone like me, I have good ideas, and I have a strong vision of what I want to do, as far as musically, but sometimes I need, a producer or somebody else with an objective view to kind of steer me in a certain direction. So Angel's really good at that. I mean, I've been playing with him since 2009, so he knows my playing style probably better than anyone, maybe better than myself. So he knows how to push me, and he knows how to get the best out of me. And, every time we work, it's always a lot of fun, but it's extremely grueling. I mean, we're always working hard, pushing. He's always pushing me. So it definitely helps, man. It's great. It's definitely made me a better player all around.
What has he made you better at that you can take away working with him, man, as you add to your repertoire, as I should say?
He's definitely made me a better, as far as lead guitar, better at phrasing and better at coming up with melodies, better at composing, taking a guitar solo and composing it as opposed to just playing a barrage of notes. He's definitely made me think more say a classical composer would, how I'm going to build a solo with a beginning, a climax, and then I'm going to end it somehow, in a nice way without just playing, without just playing a bunch of notes. And he's really helped with songwriting too, just overall song structure and arrangement. Sometimes I have a habit of, I might hang on or play a riff too long or play a section too long, and he'll suggest, maybe cutting it in half or cutting a couple bars out and then trying something else. So just little things like that, just to make the sound of the band overall better, as far as arrangements and as far as, just playing wise too.
What has impressed or excited you the most about making your guys' first full-length album, Chaos Order Renewal? What sticks out the most for you, if anything, possibly, Jay?
I think what's really cool about this one is it was more of a collaborative effort. When we did Thread of Life, I pretty much had all the music written and just brought the songs into the guys, and we worked on some arrangements together. But overall, it was mostly, or actually, it was all of my music. With this one, we got more. It was more collaborative, like I said. Other guys, Zach, Chris, they would bring in riffs, and we would just jam on those riffs. Old school, just get together in a rehearsal space, the four of us, and just. Somebody would come in with a riff and we would build a song from there. So it was really just having other guys just kind of give their input, and that definitely helped the direction and the overall sound of the music.
Is there any songs that didn't make the debut EP Thread of Life that is on this album, or is this all new material?
Well, there weren't any leftover songs, but there's definitely some older riffs, like the Rivers of Sand and Blood, for instance. like the intro and the verse riffs, and even like the breakdown after before the last guitar solo, those are riffs that I had going back to like 2009 or 2010 when I first got a 7-string guitar. I remember like the first day I got a 7-string guitar, that verse riff came out. I wrote that right there on the spot. So a couple of those riffs have been around for a while, at least 10 years.
That's insane. And I don't mean that in a bad way. I mean that in a good way, that you still have stuff in your back pocket that's 15, 20 years old that you can say, we can still add this to this, and nobody knows the difference. Yeah,
I mean, it definitely, and I'm sure it's like that with any band. Sometimes just riffs, you have good music, and maybe at the time it just doesn't fit with the vision you're going for, or you're just maybe not a good enough musician to make that riff work. There's all kinds of different reasons why, it might take 10 and 15 years before a piece of music finally sees the light of day.
Now, you mentioned just a little bit ago, this is more of a collaborative effort from everybody in the band. Is this what you want to see from here on out, or whatever album calls for?
I think really whatever the album calls for. I think depending on what kind of dynamic you have in a band, you might have one person might write more music than someone else for a particular album, and it might change from album to album. So it's just kind of the ebb and flow of being in a band. Sometimes, like for instance, going into this album, I kind of ran out of ideas, to be honest with you, just after doing Thread of Life. And really Chris, our bass player, and Zach too, our drummer, they brought in some really cool ideas, and that's really where the album started. And then from there, I got inspired and I came up with some ideas too. So it really started with them coming with new ideas. I didn't really have any ideas, but once we started writing together, and really getting into it, I started to get a little more inspired, and then I started, some more music was coming out. So it definitely doing the collaborative thing, it might change from album to album, but whatever's best for that album at that time, I think is what will work.
How long did it take to write and complete Chaos, Order, and Renewal?
I mean, I would say about a year and a half, but not like constantly writing. We all have day jobs and, we have other things going on. So, it was probably about a year and a half overall. We really started, not too long after Thread of Life came out, just because we had ideas and we just started putting like basic ideas together. And then we just kind of took it from there. And then we were going to do another EP. We were only going to do like a 4-song EP. And then we actually started getting ready to record, and we kind of realized, you know what, man, we need to work on these songs a little bit more. They're not good enough. And we kind of made the decision to scrap it, and we're going to go back to the drawing board. And at that point we said, you know what, let's just write more songs. If we're going to take the extra time to do this, let's just make a full album. And we actually ended up dropping a song, which, it may show up later on at some point, but it really came from, we were going to record an EP. We decided the songs weren't good enough, and we just said, you know what, screw it. Let's just do a full album at this point.
Any tracks standing out more to you than any right now on this new album? I know it must change every time you talk about it or every time you listen to it, because I know these are your babies. But do you have any that stick out for you, Jay?
We do have a song called the Omnipotent, which will be released, when the album comes out in April. And it's just like a bunch of different sounds. It's the intro is just acoustic, and then it gets real heavy and just fast and aggressive, and then it goes back to being, mellow and acoustic again, and then it picks up again. So it kind of takes you for a ride. It goes through these like hills and valleys, so to speak, where it's really, really pretty, and then it gets real heavy, and it gets pretty again, and then it gets heavy. So it's a really cool dynamic, and I think that song came out amazing, and definitely one of my favorite songs.
With all these tracks on this album, was it hard to choose between which one you wanted to be the first single, or was it hands down The Rivers of Sand and Blood?
No, I think we knew, like, hands down that was going to be the first one, because it was just one of those songs that's just in your face. Like, it's just relentless from the start. There's really no screwing around. We just kind of get to the point. The song's short. It's about a 3-minute song, and it just kind of encapsulates what we're about, I think, in 3 minutes. So I think it made for the perfect single.
Writing of Chaos, Order, Renewal, this album was taking on a heavier, darker Middle Eastern vibe. Was this the direction you wanted to go with this album from the previous debut EP, Thread of Life? Also, do you think this shows your guys' versatility of your songwriting?
I think it definitely shows versatility because I think our music is, we're kind of classified as progressive metal, but we do have elements of that. But I think we're a bunch of different things, thrash metal, power metal, neoclassical, like old school, neoclassical metal, a little bit of death metal, even though there's no vocals, some of the arrangements, drum and guitar wise, very death metal-y. So I definitely think we are versatile in that we can do different genres of metal. I don't think it was really a direction we set out to go in. It just kind of took on a life of its own, especially once we had sort of a concept. The album cover is kind of loosely based on like ancient Egypt. Even like some of the song titles are. So once we had some of the riffs and we had some song titles and stuff, that was really when we decided to go in that direction.
Who did the artwork on this album?
Actually, same guy who did the last album. His name's Dixon Zhang, and he's from Hong Kong or China. I can't remember, but he has a page called Intuitive Designs, a company called Intuitive Designs, and he does graphic art for, many bands, and he did the last album too, so he did this one again as well.
This album was produced and engineered by yourself and Zachy Alley, with, of course, your good friend Angel Vivaldi acting as co-producer. Working with all these guys on this album, did they get something out of you all that maybe somebody else may not have gotten, or is this just like your comfort zone of working with all these guys?
Well, I definitely think it's a comfort zone, just because I've been friends with them. We've worked together for so many years, and they definitely push me because they know my playing style, probably more than I know it. And they know what buttons to push to kind of get me to push me over the edge to really take my playing to the next level.
Do you see this band still musically growing and wanting to go outside your guys' box for the band's sound? Is this what you're wanting to go for?
Yeah, absolutely. This is kind of our core sound, but there was a song that Zachy brought to the band that ended up getting dropped because it didn't really fit. Like, it was a great song, but it didn't really fit the overall sound of the album. And that one was really more going in like for lack of a better term, a gent kind of style, little Meshuggah-y. Definitely something I've never done before, something we've never done before. And I would definitely not rule out doing something like that on a future album. It just didn't really fit with the music on this album. So I think we're definitely trying to push ourselves, not just do the same thing over again, just, improve ourselves as individual players, as a band, as songwriters, and just see what happens.
What do you hope everyone takes away, or a message you hope they hear while listening to any of Etherius' music in general, Jay? What do you hope they get from it, man?
I just hope people get inspired by it. Our music, we're trying not to cater to only musicians. There's some bands you listen to kind of in like the instrumental guitar genre where it's like, you could tell they're just trying to cram as many riffs and as many ideas into a song as possible. And that's cool. There's definitely a place for that. But for us, it's not about, I don't care about impressing other guitar players. I don't care about impressing other musicians. If other musicians like our music, that's awesome. I just want people to hear it and get inspired and find something, a melody or a riff that they can hum that just, uplifts them, makes them feel good.
I have a saying at work, and it's the truest saying of all time, man. Keep it simple.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Even with like progressive metal, technical music, there is a tendency for bands to kind of overplay, and you can definitely overplay in that style. And that's like a fine line that we try to not completely cross.
Prime example, White Zombie's first album, Lars Sisto Devil Music, Volume 1, I guess that's what it's called. Yep. Simple album.
Yeah, simple, just because something is simple doesn't mean it's bad. Some of the greatest riffs of all time are some of the easiest riffs. Yeah. So that's always got to keep that in mind.
That's exactly right, man. That's exactly right. And you're 1,000 times correct of people trying to cram in as much riffs and solo as they can on one song, and I'm going, back up, chill.
You still got 10 other songs to write for an album.
Yeah. What does Etherius bring to the table for music that's not out there as of right now, if anything? And I know no one's reinventing the wheel, but what does Etherius bring to that table?
Yeah, I mean, I'm not going to say that we're doing like this completely revolutionary style that no one's ever heard before. I just think we're taking, what's been done before us and just doing it in our own way. I think we bring, like I said, a shorter, simpler approach to technical music, if that makes any sense. We don't, like I said, we're not writing songs to impress other musicians. We just want to write music that touches people, that moves people, and that's all we're trying to do.
What can fans expect at a show from Etherius who have not got to see you guys live as of yet? What are they going to get when they come to see you all?
Definitely going to get a show, maybe not so much production-wise. This is our first tour, so, we're not going to go crazy with like some crazy light show or any kind of production, but we're definitely going to be moving around. There's going to be a lot of energy. We're not going to be standing still. We're going to be moving around, headbanging. We're going to want people to do the same thing, and we're going to let you know.
Man, what made you want to become a musician? What was that spark for you that said, yeah, I want to do this, or maybe even attempt to do this?
Well, it's funny because I don't come from a musical family at all. Like nobody in my family. I think my grandfather maybe played the trumpet when he was younger. That didn't last very long. I had, my parents. Funny enough, my parents used to drag me to country music concerts when I was younger, and I hated country music, and I still am not really a fan to this day. But I can appreciate it a little bit more. So maybe I always think maybe that kind of planted a seed in my brain to think about maybe trying to do music. And then when I was 13, my best friend started playing guitar, and I wanted to be a drummer. I was like, all right, I'll learn to play the drums and we'll start a band. But my parents wouldn't buy me a drum set, so they got me an acoustic guitar, and the rest is history.
Is there a country that stands out or shocks you that Etherius gets support from, or they even play your music?
We get a lot of support from Mexico. Mexico, Brazil, like anywhere in South America. That's the cool thing. People, they talk bad about streaming and stuff, but streaming is great because you can really see what your demographics are. You can see where people are listening to you the most. And for us, it's places like Mexico, like anywhere in like Central and South America, Brazil, even like a couple places in Europe, but mostly, like I said, Mexico and Brazil seems to be where a lot of people are listening to us.
So when you were younger, did you have that go-to album or that go-to song that allowed you to escape, that helped you out, that made you think, man, things are going to get better when you had that rough spot possibly?
There's a couple albums. Ride the Lightning to this day is one of my favorite albums. Just the energy. I love the riffs, the lead guitar playing, the whole thing is just so good. That was definitely an album that helped me through some tough times. Pantera, Vulgar Display of Power. Another one, just because it was just so aggressive. Like it just, it was a way to get, any kind of anger out in a, constructive way instead of, breaking things or fighting people or, anything like that. Those are the two albums that really were with me a lot when I was younger.
So what's your take on, and I don't know if you heard about this or not, but there was a so-called article going around that this is just what I saw. Dime was saying that he wanted to get Pantera back after Damage Plan, after he got done with Damage Plan or something to that effect, before he sadly got taken away from us by that piece of crap guy who killed him.
Yeah, I did read the article a little bit. I know he was complaining about like some of the other guys in the band, but I mean, I definitely think if he was still alive, Pantera absolutely would have gotten back together. No question about it. I think him and Phil and Vinny would have put their differences aside, and they definitely would have done another album and another tour. And who knows, maybe they still would have kept going, to this day, if Don was still alive. I think now, there's all this talk about, maybe Rex and Phil doing like a Pantera tribute with different musicians. I don't know. I mean, I think it could be cool to do like a one-off thing just as a tribute to Don and Vinny, but I couldn't see them doing like a whole tour like that. I don't know. It's just, those four guys, you can't take any of those guys out of that band. It would be a completely different band, and which we saw with Damage Plan. I mean, Damage Plan was awesome.
Yeah.
But it wasn't Pantera.
No. And speaking of that, happy birthday to Big Vin. wherever he's at right now. Today's
That's
his
right,
birthday.
yeah.
So
Hopefully he's jamming with his brother somewhere.
yes, sir, and Jimi Hendrix and all. Yeah, yes, sir.
All that, yeah.
That'd be awesome. But yeah, they were taken away from us too soon.
Yeah, I mean, it's sad. You know, you think about like their dad, Jerry Abbott. You know, he was a musician. He owned a studio, and he's really how they got into music. And just to lose both of his sons like that is, man, I can't even imagine what that feels like.
Folks, you want to get out and pick up Etherius' new album that's coming out April 17th, entitled Chaos, Order, Renewal. Also, you want to check them out on tour starting March 15th, Amityville, New York, Revolution Bar. Yes, Amityville, New York, where the Amityville horror took place.
That's right, yeah.
And it's going to conclude on April 29th, Seattle, Washington at Club Sur. Now, this is, I'm just going to say this out here, just, you know, Jay can let me know about this or not, but this is, as of right now, I don't know what they're doing with all this coronavirus, if they're going to do anything with this, you know, if they're going to cancel, whatever, I don't know. But as of right now, these dates are set in stone for now. So,
yep.
Jay, my brother, man, how can folks stay in touch with you guys, buy some merchandise, this new album, tour dates, all that good stuff? How can they do that?
Our website, EtheriusBand.com, it's not live yet, but probably by the time you air this, it will be live. So if you go to EtheriusBand.com, ETHERIUS band.com, and everything is there. You can pre-order our album. You know, you can get merch, T-shirts. You know, all of our music is there. You can check out all of our videos, tour dates. Everything will be there. You can follow us on Instagram at EtheriusBand. You know, Facebook, same thing, Etherius at EtheriusBand. And like I said, just check out the website, EtheriusBand.com.
Before I let you go, as always, would you care to do another promo for me?
Sure. All right, I can do that. What's up, everyone? This is Jay Tarantino, guitarist of Etherius, and you are listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Everybody stick around. We've got some great stuff coming up, and you only hear these interviews right here on BODS Mayhem Hour podcast. Please get out and check out our Facebook page. It has our new podcast link, and it also has our YouTube page link, because anything and everything that we do will go up on these two links and sites. Also, please, you can check out BODS Mayhem Hour podcast on iHeart Radio Podcast, iTunes Podcast, Podbean. You can check us out on Spotify. We are all over the place now, finally. So you may see some old interviews like from 2012 go up, plus 2020. Just hang in there. We're getting everything switched over, and it's just me doing it. So each and every single one of you guys and gals who support me and what I do, I love every single one of you. Thank you so much for what you guys do for us, and especially what you guys do for all these bands out there. And Jay, my brother, as always, I support you guys 1,000%. So if you need anything whatsoever, just never hesitate to reach out to me.
I will, man. Thank you very much.
Everybody stick around. We got some great podcasts coming up here, and we'll see you next Wednesday. Thanks, Jay. Appreciate you, brother.
Yeah, thank you very much.
You're listening to BODS Mayhem Hour.
Follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.